Hey everybody, this is Butt Sanchez, the only YouTuber that made you realize you never had a better time on YouTube. Until now. And we're just going to jump right in and go right into the focus tower, which is kind of the central hub of this game. It brings you to the 4 different corners of the world. In a way, it brings you to the 4 crystals of the Earth, or whatever the place is called, Gaia, probably. Anyway, this is the focus tower. We'll be coming here quite often in the game. As the game, when you beat like one of the 4 fiends, is what they're called, or the foul fiends, or whatever, they, I guess, guard a chest containing a coin that allows you to bypass in the new areas of the focus tower. The sand coin lets you go into this area over here. One thing to note is every time you enter the focus tower to go into a new location or a new corner of the world, you always get like a spell that seems to be very effective against most of the monsters in this area. In this case, we got the fire spell, and as you can see in the northeastern quadrant of the world, it is ice. I wonder what we're going to be using, like, most often in this place. Luckily, we found Phoebe immediately, even though the white was like, oh, you might find her on the way to Aquaria. And of course we did. So this is Phoebe. A little bit about her. She starts off with actually one of Benjamin's weapons, the cat claw, which I'll talk about later, once Benjamin actually acquires it. But once she loses the cat claw, Phoebe actually uses the bow of grace, which can be, if it doesn't outright kill a monster, it can randomly blind the monster, which I don't know how useful it is, as I've never really seen any of the monsters ever miss their attacks and whatnot. She is effective against flying monsters with her bow, just because it does shoot element. She's by far the best mage in the game and comes with a variety of spells, including the arrow spell, even though it's not in her learned book, or spell book, or whatever you want to call it. I'll talk about that later. What's interesting is in the European artwork for the game, it shows Phoebe with a shield as she wields her cat claws, which is strange, as she only has the shield when you reacquire her later at the very end of the game. So I'm not sure why they decided, you know, this girl needs to have a shield in her artwork when she never uses it with her cat claws, but that's besides the point. So this is Phoebe's house. Get the heal potions, because you can never have too many of those, even though we can find a spell later, and I went the wrong way there. Find a spell to just kind of make heal potions kind of pointless at the cost of 1 white spell charge, but whatever. So this is Aquaria. As you can see, you can go around chopping the trees if you really want to. It doesn't really matter that much. The trees won't stay there once it becomes spring. Yep, as you can see, the monster on top of the ice pyramid caused the crystal of water to no longer shine. So that's our quest today, is to restore the shine of the crystal water. Before we go, let's get the steel shield from this lady for 200 GP. The steel shield's kind of interesting, as it's our first helmet that we acquire. It has 4 defense. It gives Benjamin 5 evasion, and for whatever reason, it also boosts his attack +5. I'm not sure how a shield will help you hit harder, but, you know, I don't really make the game up or whatever, and I just kind of edited out the transition to get out of here. We go to this battlefield here. This is, I just cut out the 9 battles and just go straight to the 10th one, just so you don't have to see the monotony. And once we beat this battlefield, which is quite simple because Phoebe is really good with magic, as you can see, clearing them out with fire, you get the magic ring. Now the magic ring protects against the silent. First off, it's our first armor upgrade in the game. It's better than the charm. It protects against the silence status effect. It also boosts, along with the charm, Benjamin's magic +5. That's not cumulative, so it's just +5 if you just have either of them. The charm or the magic ring, that is. But due to a bug in the game and how silence was programmed, silence actually doesn't do anything in this game. So the protection for silence, it's in there, but it's not really all that useful. But the more you know. What's interesting to note about I said it was an upgrade to the charm. The charm was received from a battlefield, if you recall from the first game. If you go get the magic ring first, or in this case, like even like a later shield or weapon, you actually for some reason cannot go back and reacquire the old weapon. The game just will not allow you. It will come up with a thing saying there's no reason to have this steel shield anymore, that you have something better. As you probably noticed, there's no equipping in this game at all. the second you acquire a new piece of weapon or armor, you just automatically equip it. There's no reason to go in and equip it and all that stuff. So as you can see, Phoebe just gave us her cat claw. So the cat claw allows you to scale the walls and whatever, so that's kind of fun. Later we get a thing called the Dragon Claw, which is kind of like the hook shot from Legend of Zelda, but again, I'll talk about that later. Anyway, the cat claw, it is the weakest base power of all the weapons at a measly 2.5 power. Like Tristram's shurikens, it can inflict poison and paralyze. It boosts Benjamin's magic +5 when it's equipped. So right now I have the cat claw equipped, so if I cast a spell with it equipped, I'll deal +5 damage. Now it's the bomb, so I'll do no +5 damage. To magic, that is. So that's the cat claw for you. So the cat claw, or the claw type weapons, are the only weapons in the game for Benjamin that allow you to deal status effects. There's no spells or anything that deals status effects, so just something to note. Even though it's kind of pointless to do the status effects on monsters, because you can often just outright kill them with spells that you acquire anyway, or just, you know, switch to a different weapon or something. Like this worm I'm fighting right there, for example, I can easily use the axe. In fact, I switched to the axe to fight it because worms are weak to the axe type weapon. How fun, huh? So we're almost done with the wintry cave. There's actually 2 floors here. I'm on the lower floor of this area. If you're on the top floor, you actually get confused and you can't, like, you'd be like, why can't I go over there? It's like, oh, I'm on the upper floor. So I make sure I don't go on the upper floor because it's pointless. And with that, we're actually fighting the first boss of this game. Excuse me, not this game, of this video, which is the Squidite. And I'm just going to kind of cure everyone here first before I go in, because the Squidite's a little, I wouldn't say tricky, but it is a boss after all. It takes, like, I don't know, 8 rounds to kill or something. This is just kind of showing, like, the difference when you equip your weapons. So, like, your magic goes up +5 when the cat claw is equipped and whatever. I'm just doing a little safety save here because you can't be too careful. The Squidite, I've always found those Sparnas to be kind of ridiculous, like, monsters, because to me they look like they're wearing diapers. I don't really understand it, but it doesn't really matter because Phoebe can easily just, like, mop the floor with them by just shooting them with her bow, because she can kill them in one hit, basically. I just use whatever they're called, a regenerizer or something like that there, because I think my defense or offense or something, I didn't really pay attention there, got reduced. I think that's the only time in the game I actually do use that, but anyway, put Phoebe on auto here because she'll just cast fire over and over again, which is great because, well, the Squidite, let me explain. The Squidite has 2,500 HP. It is strong against the Earth magic type. It's a water elemental boss, but for whatever reason is not weak to fire or thunder attacks. But it can cast electrical attacks itself, so go figure. And like that, we're just fighting the Squidite. Not really much to say here, it's just, I guess it's technically a squid. It has the name Squid in its name. But let's see, I'm trying to count all the tentacles. I only count 6. Do squids have 6 tentacles or 8? I know octopus have 8, but kind of a dumb question to ask. It's going to take about 10 rounds probably to kill this thing, or maybe 7 rounds or something like that, just because I'm not even dealing 200 damage with my fire spells here, because the stupid squid is, for whatever reason, neutral towards fire, but whatever. And like that, we're already a third of the way done through the fight. Wish I had more exciting things to say. Okay, I'll just see bombs. For whatever reason, bombs are more effective on this thing than the fire spell is with the cat claw, so that's not a big deal. Like that, it's already on a third of its life, or 2/3 of its life gone, so here we go. Just keep spamming fire on it, and then before you know it, it'll die. Uh-oh, Benjamin's blind, but he's using bombs. As I pointed out, bombs can never miss, even if they're blind, which seems kind of like a dangerous thing to have. Like, who would want to have, like, someone throwing bombs around when you're blind? So actually, this chest here, we get our first crest item. The Libra crest, or whatever you want to call it. If you remember back in the Libra temple, we found, like, there was, like, kind of like an icon on the floor. I walked on it, but nothing happened. That's because I didn't have the Libra crest. If you have the crests, you can step on them and get warped to random areas. Usually, they don't really give you, like, anything useful. They kind of warp you to, like, a dead end area that just has like a few brown chests in there for you to gather some stuff if you really want, but Sometimes you can use them to warp around the world maps. You don't have to go through the focus tower, which is cool, but it's confusing, like, where, you know, stuff goes. And this is just the lower part of the southeastern area of the game. We'll come back to that later when there's no clouds. But spoiler alert, the lake that is normally there is dried up, so there's nothing of use right there, but that's okay. So here's White. He always seems to come at the time when you need him most. In this case, he could have just given us the wake water to begin with. We could have avoided, you know, the whole wintry cave mumbo jumbo, but whatever. It's just whatever. Kind of a waste of time if you ask me. Not that the wake water does anything. We can put it on the tree in the middle of Aquaria. I guess you'll see it right here when we go to Aquaria, but nothing happens because the water, crystal water, is not shining, so the town of Aquaria is still in a perpetual frozen state. One thing to note is that the music here is different compared between frozen Aquaria and spring Aquaria, or thawed Aquaria, whatever you want to call it. Just something to note, just a little attention to detail there. They could have just used the same music here, but they did not. They decided we're going to just have slightly different music. That's cool. I'm just going in here to just heal. Now that I actually have enough gold or GP to actually heal. I didn't have enough gold when I initially came in here because I spent all my money on purchasing a steel helmet. But that's just how, you know, things work in this game sometimes. Okay, so now we're going to the next area in the game. I don't know why I kind of stood here for a while, but this is the Falls Basin. It's the base of the falls here. This area is a little strange compared to all the dungeons we've done so far in this game, as it is more of a puzzle-focused area than a combat-focused. I mean, there's some monsters we fight here, and there's a boss we fight here, but it's more just pushing pillars around and then actually utilizing Benjamin's jump mechanic, which I'm often just using so I don't have to press up or down, left or right or whatever, because when you jump, you move 2 spaces in that direction. Kind of like that. If you speedrun this game, you can actually bypass, I think, the 3rd pillar and then get to the boss, but I kind of show how to get to all 3 pillars and just do this the normal way, because this isn't normally this isn't a speedrun after all, it's just me playing the game. I'm just editing out all the fights. So that's how it goes. One thing to note with the Falls Basin is you can kind of soft lock yourself and have to redo the puzzle, so I'd recommend you save before you kind of push some of the pillars around, because otherwise you could probably screw yourself over. In addition, once you get the Crystal of Water restored, this place becomes inaccessible. So, there's only one, that red chest there you want to make sure you get it. It actually contains the heal spell, which is a good spell. I mean, it removes all status ailments or whatever, but, like, you know, if you don't get it, it's not that big of a deal, because you have the heal potions in place if you want to use those. So that's how that goes, I guess. So just FYI. Here I'm just kind of trying to figure out what to do. You have to make sure I push this thing here. I saved here because I accidentally screwed myself royally by pushing the thing against the wall at one point. Not during that edit. The edit, for some reason, I took like I wouldn't say 10 minutes, but like 40 seconds deciding, okay, if I push that here, is it going to screw me up? And I decided, no, it will not. So that's how it goes, I guess. I'll go grab the explosives, because you can never have too many bombs. And just like that, we're almost done with the Falls Basin level. I go fight the crab right away, even though I probably should have got the heal spell before, because this is actually... Well, this is the snow crab. It has 3,000 HP. Despite its name of snow crab, it is not weak to the fire element. And since it is a crab monster, it is weak to axe-type attacks. So it would behoove you for Benjamin to just... You see, it only does 1 damage to the snow crab. It's kind of ridiculous. So very strong against it. So it behoove you as Benjamin to just use your axe attacks and then have Phoebe cast like maybe Thunder or something. His Thunder does like 505 damage. Is pretty good. Fun fact, Phoebe actually has her very first wizard spell out of our party members. In this case, Thunder. Benjamin will get that when we go to the 3rd area and get in the Fire Crystal. But I don't really use Thunder that much. I don't think it's that great of a spell personally. Fun fact with the Snow Crab, it is the first boss we fight that inflicts a status ailment, which in this case is the Confuse element. And as you're killing the Snow Crab, it seems to, like, produce more bubbles or something. I don't really understand the sprite work. Actually, there's one thing I never really mentioned was this game. Since I'm skipping most of the random encounters, the one thing that is going for the game, like the battle backgrounds are kind of forgettable. I mean, look at that. It's like 2/3 of it's just the same tile over and over again. The last third's the same, well, a tile pattern. It's forgettable, but like the sprite work for the monsters is actually quite good. As you can see, each monster has 2 to 4 sprites, denoting if you how much damage you're dealing to the monster. So if it's almost dead, it will, you know, change its sprite. And the sprite work's quite good. It's quite detailed and quite nice. And as you're fighting the monsters, they often get more and more pathetic looking. I don't know why Phoebe decides after we kill that boss, oh, this is how you use a jumbo bomb, by the way. Maybe the rubble in that cave or whatever it was a little too strong for the normal bombs. I don't really know. So this is the ice pyramid. I'll talk about jumbo bombs in a second. So here's our first instance of pressing a switch with our sword. So here we go. So there you go. That's all the sword does. The ice pyramid, all the monsters here are invisible until you get the magic mirror, which is just right over here. I have a vivid memory of myself in high school. My brother was upstairs. Yes, he can't see the monster, the sprite of the monster. You can see them when you're in battle. But once you get the magic mirror, you can see all the monsters anyway, so there you go. Anyway, I have a memory of this dungeon, not really playing it, but like, my brother was upstairs from college or visiting or something from wherever he's from. And I was downstairs with a classmate of mine working on like, I think it was like a geography assignment or something we had to do. And we were downstairs in the kitchen, and my brother was up in my room playing this game. And this is like in 2008, so, you know, it was before smartphones were really widely accepted or acceptable around the public and all that stuff. So instead of going downstairs to go Google what to do, my brother yells from upstairs in my bedroom, goes, "Hey, Butt Sanchez, I can't see all the monsters in the ice pyramid. What's going on?" And I go, "Well, where are you in the ice pyramid?" And then, like, so keep in mind, we're not in the same room. We're yelling at each other across the house, across floors of the house. And he goes, "I just entered the ice pyramid." I'm like, "Okay, stay at the entrance and go east as far as you can while hugging the wall to the south. Eventually, you'll find an alcove." And I'm yelling him these directions from downstairs. And I said, "Eventually, you find like a little alcove with the chest there, and you'll find a magic mirror that does this." And my friend didn't say anything until like the next day at school, where he's making fun of me in front of everyone at school. He's like, "Yeah, Butt Sanchez was giving like." He and his brother were not even in the same room, but Butt Sanchez was giving, according to him, highly detailed instructions on how to play some game without even looking at where he was or even knowing what he was doing. He was just giving highly detailed instructions." So that's what I remember about the ice pyramid. Another thing I remember about the ice pyramid is while I was recording footage for this, my fucking cat decided to jump on the table and want some attention. So he walked across my computer, my laptop, and walked on the keyboard and pressed the F1 key, which reloaded my state back to at the very beginning of this video when I was just entering the focus tower. Needless to say, I was quite angry at my cat Lucifer, and that is his name, and it really fits him in this case. He was being a demon. So because of that, I actually had to stop recording and then play the game at like 2 times speed to just, you know, get rid of the monotony because I wasn't recording anything. And go through the first parts of the game again, fighting the battlefield, the wintry cave, and the falls basin. And then start recording again when I get to the ice pyramid. So the more you know, I guess. Back to the jumbo bomb. That is our first weapon upgrade. It is a bomb type weapon, or explosive type, or bomb element, or whatever. It has a base power of 112.5, because, I don't know, they couldn't have whole numbers back then or something. Decided we just have to have that half thing, but the jumbo bomb, it behooves you to use that most of the time in the dungeon just because it's quite good. Even though if you have Phoebe on auto, she'll often cast fire appropriately on all the monsters that are weak to that, or cast like the thunder spell appropriately. I went to the right and realized it was a dead end. That's why I had that kind of the janky transition there, because I just didn't want to show you that nothing was going to happen. So here I am, just kind of jumping my merry way over here. As you can see, there is a chest there. That will contain the noble armor. I'll talk about that in just a moment when I have to go up a floor and then fall down. And I do that right here. So here we go. You'll grab these potions, I guess, or whatever they are, explosives and arrows and all that stuff. I never really understood why the game designers put the monsters in this configuration, because you only have to fight one monster to bypass all them, and then go grab the chest and the goodies if you really want to. It's just kind of strange, but whatever. Now Phoebe's at max arrows. Okay, the noble armor. So the noble armor is interesting. It protects Benjamin against water and poison type attacks, as you can see there, because he uses icons. It has 12 defense, and it also boosts his evasion plus 10. Which, again, I would point out that evasion's kind of pointless in this game. Okay, so I actually put this battle in here just to show off a thing. So, if you ever get into a random encounter in this game and all the monsters are flying type, they'll have this kind of like hovering or flying animation, as you can kind of see here. So the reason I'm showing this off is because I believe a fight right after this one, I'll fight like a mixture of flying and ground monsters, so you'll see in a second here. I just have to kind of get our merry way over here, following the thing carefully. Don't slip off the thing and fall down the floor, even though you can just walk up the floor again. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so here's the... Yep, you see that one of the birds is a flying monster, but all their other ground. For some reason, the game could not program when you had a mixture of ground and flying monsters. So whenever you had a mixture of them, they would just... None of the monsters would be hovering at all. But if it was all flying monsters, then they would be hovering. I thought I'd just point that out in case you didn't really notice that. Or in some people's case, that like my friend Weasel, who likes to watch my videos, he will probably question, wait, why is that? Or something like that. So just what it is. This is the Knight's Sword, our second upgrade. Second sword upgrade. Has a base power of... I'll have to take a look here, I guess, to see what the base power is. I didn't really write this down, but that's okay. It has a base power of 45, and unlike the steel sword, when equipped, it will boost Benjamin's speed plus 5. So, if you need to... And there's the boss there, but it's a phantom, so don't bother talking to it. It's a lie. So if you need to like do some strategy where you need to have some speed or something, let's say Phoebe died or something, it would behoove you to maybe put on your... like equip your sword or whatever it is as you move just slightly faster. It affects the turn order of the monsters and stuff like that. And for the most part, it can like kill most of the monsters here in about one single slash, but not always. So, I mean, when you fight like beholder monsters or crab monsters, you want to use bombs or the axe appropriately. But it is what it is. I use a seed on Phoebe here because I want her to use the fire spell on the ice golem quite often because, as you can imagine, the ice golem is made of ice, and naturally, it's weak to fire. This is the ice golem. Not really much to say. It has 6,500 HP, and it did 576 damage, so whatever that is, 13 to fire attacks, plus 400 from Benjamin, so about 980 damage right there, so that's not too bad. It's weak to fire. It's also strong against water and earth, as you can imagine. It's also kind of an unusual boss because its speed stat is... it'll randomly be faster or slower than Phoebe. Usually your partner always attacks first. Often attacks first, I should say, not always. So sometimes, I think I actually died on this fight because it, like, killed Benjamin right away, and then the ice golem can actually put you to sleep. And so it, like, killed Benjamin kind of, like, right there, and then when Phoebe was trying to do life, you know, Phoebe was asleep or something like that. Yeah, so there's, like, the sleep animation right there, so... I did die in this fight, but again, if you die, you just, you get prompted if you want to give up. If you say no, you just fight the boss, like, right where you left off with the exact life and magic charges you had remaining, so... Realistically, dying is not that big of a deal in this game. But anyway, all the bosses in the game, well, all the foul fiends, or whatever they're called, they always have 4 sprites to display their, how much damage they have. This is the 3rd sprite for the boss. The last one will actually look really similar to my side panel here where it's melting in the... I put them in the desert because I thought that was kind of funny looking, just having them melted in the desert. But, yeah. That was one thing I wish they kind of brought back in the other Final Fantasies was, you know, do really good sprite work like this with the monsters and have the monsters, like when they get damaged or whatever, they would change sprites, but most of the time, the monsters, you can kill them outright with just a single attack or something, just because the monsters weren't really that strong in that game. It was just more just a kind of an endurance test, see if you had enough items or something. So he's about 25% life remaining here, so just how it goes. I didn't really want to use a seed just because, you know, it's, you can buy as many as you want in Fireburg, but we're not in Fireburg at the moment. So now I'm using the Claymore or the Night Sword here. I kind of use Claymore and Night Sword interchangeably, but just whatever it is. Just keep using the Night Sword here, but that +5 speed made Benjamin attack first before this. If I don't have the Noble Armor, that water attack or ice attack or whatever it is, it deals like 400 damage to Benjamin, which at this level is almost all of his life, so it's nice that I have the Noble Armor. And just like that, the Ice Golem is dead, and we brought back the light of the crystal water. Look at that. Now, that chest is not anything that useful, just don't forget it, because you need it to progress through the game unless you want to fight all the monsters in this dungeon again, but it's the river coin, or the blue coin. It will allow us, when we go through the focus tower, to go to the fire area, which is the northwest area. So this is kind of strange. Phoebe just leaves you, so you don't have like an exit spell, so you actually have to like walk out the dungeon, but I just, I basically just edited out all the stuff here. So right after, you know, I did a fancy little transition there when I saved and got out of the pause screen. That's when I edited out my footage, so that way it's no longer, you know, you don't have to watch me walk out. So you can thank me later. You can thank me in the comments. You can thank me by liking or subscribing. I may as well beg for that stuff, because there's no shame in begging on YouTube. This is Spencer's place. It's kind of annoying going in here, because you have to go here like 3 times in the game, and you have to keep going through this pathway of bridges and ladders and all this stuff. But at least you get to see like the kind of cool waterfall effect. If you look below like that platform there, like it's not waterfall animation, but like lake animation or water flowing animation compared to the water falling animation. That's how it goes, I guess. Anyway, this is Spencer's place. We actually get the Dragon Claw item, which is the 3rd claw item that Tristan purloined from us at the beginning of this thing. And, yeah, that's just it. We basically have to talk to Spencer. He just talks about, like, you know, there's a shield that we can have, even though we can get a better shield later in the game. He gives us a key to unlock the chest, and then we can get that that shield later. I'll talk about the next video, because we'll get it right at the very beginning of the video, but that's okay. He just kind of talks more about the story in the game, and I use that term loosely, because there's not really much story in this game. Basically, you're just trying to find a ship captain to take you to the base of the Focus Tower, which leads you to Doom Castle. And like that, we're actually at the end of the video, and I'm going to be talking through this, so that's just how it goes. So I'll see you in the next video, so thank you.